Thanks, pal.
The little building. On the porch.
What's going on, Billy? I'm saying paradise there. Okay.
You can outside cooking around the car dinner.
Nice new office there. I almost hit that parked car when I took Kramer Law.
It's been there for a while.
We'll call this meeting the Board of Supervisors together. Supervisor Seaver, would you lead us in the pledge of allegiance?
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everybody here to the September meeting of the Board of Supervisors.
You were there.
We'll do the roll call.
Mr. Conover.
Here.
Mr. Leggett.
Here.
Mr. Diamond. Mr. McDevitt.
Here.
Ms. Bramer. Here. Mr. Bruno.
Here.
Mr. Driscoll.
Here.
Mrs. Frazier. Here. Mr. Drossy.
Here.
Ms. Hogan. Mr. Dickinson.
Here.
Mr. Merlino.
Here.
Mr. Stroud.
Here.
Mr. Wild. Mr. McGowan.
Here.
Ms. Seaver. Here. Mr. Beatty.
Here.
Mr. Thomas.
Here.
Ms. Runyon. Here. Chairman Garrity.
Here.
Quorum is established.
Okay, first item of business, approve the minutes of September 1, 2022 board meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
I should have asked for a motion. So motion by Supervisor McDevitt, second by Supervisor Bruno. Discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Those carried. Next, we have the presentation of Employee of the Month. I don't think this person is any stranger to any of us who've been around the county for a while. Nancy has worked in buildings and grounds, DPW, many years. Nancy is responsible for the fuel system. I think that's one of your jobs. You keep that up. So she keeps the fuel going into the trucks, manages that. She's been integral in the buildings and grounds department here, and I won't say how many years she's been here, but I'm honored and to present Nancy Ross with the Employee of the Month certificate. Nancy? Roger, would you like to say anything about your star employee?
You covered it all.
I tried to.
Speech.
Nancy, you can speak to us.
I'd like to thank everybody. It's actually been a pleasure to work for Warren County. I've been here over 30 years now. And I think buildings and grounds has been my niche towards the end. And Scott and Kevin have been great to me. The guys are great. I'm starting to teach them some of the things. I don't think I can teach them all the things, but and I'm hoping maybe I can come back and double dip for a while. Couple days a week. But thank you all, and I'm looking forward to the Bloom Fest with my buddy there.
So am I.
Thank you all.
Hey, we also have another graduate of the county's leadership program, and that is Bobby Bradway of DSS. Is Bobby here? I don't see her. We'll make sure that she gets her certificate for the leadership training. Next, I'll open it up for privilege of the floor and public comment. Anybody wish to address the board on any topic right now?
Sure. Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since we're open to public comment, the other day, Chairman Garrity gave me an opportunity to stand up and speak for Warren County at the Special Olympics at the steps of the City Hall. And I just would like to reach out and say that the Special Olympics are coming in October, the weekend of the 12th, and looking forward to those I am personally, but for any other supervisors and any of the residents, here in Warren County, to really to volunteer. This is such a special time for these Olympians to be here. And last year it was phenomenal with the 380 or so people that were here, but we have over 1,300 coming. So we need all the volunteering and the help we can get. So just reaching out there, there's an app online or, to sign up for that. Look up the Special Olympics in Glens Falls and they can, so thank you.
Thank you.
And again, thank you, Chairman Garrity, for the opportunity to stand up for the county.
Welcome. Thank you. Any other public comment? Seeing none, we'll move right on with the rest of the meeting. Chairman's report. On August 16th, I attended the Criminal Justice, Public Safety and Arrested Committee meetings, 23rd. Also attended committee meetings the 24th. I attended the Lake George Village Wastewater Treatment Plant dedication, very nice event. On the 25th, I attended department head budget meetings. The 26th, department head budget meetings. The 29th, the department head budget meetings. August 30th, I attended a press conference in Peru, New York, as a member of the AATV to talk about the New York state gun laws. Assemblyman Billy Jones was there and Assemblyman Matt Simpson. On the 31st, I attended the department head budget meetings. September 31st, so September 1st, I attended the second board of supervisors meeting. September 2nd, I attended department head meetings. On September 7th, I went to the Lake George, Lake Champlain Regional Planning Office for an award ceremony for Beth Gillis. She was presented a certificate by Assemblyman Matt Simpson. September 7th, I attended the Association of Towns and Villages meeting in Hadley. On September 9th, I attended the Joint Personnel and Finance meeting at SUNY Adirondack with Washington County. On September 11th, I attended the Warrensburg Volunteer Fire Company Remembers ceremony in Warrensburg. It was our 21st year that we've had that ceremony. It was well attended. And then on behalf of myself and the rest of the Board of Supervisors, I want to thank everybody who's attending the NISAC conference this coming weekend, and all of the supervisors who are in leadership roles. We appreciate you being there. Also, the clerk of the board and the deputy administrator will be attending, representing Warren County. And again, I'd like to thank Supervisor McGowan for attending the press conference for the Special Olympics. And believe it or not, this past month, we've had 18 new employees around the county. So you're going to see some new faces. There's a new face in the county attorney's office. We have new Parks Director Dean Moore, and numerous other CSEA members who have joined our ranks. So that's promising to see that we have 18 new employees this past month in Warren County. So a few new faces. And that is my report. So we'll start with reports of chairs. Supervisor Seaver.
Mr. Chairman, this week or this coming week comes the NISAC meeting, and we'll be holding a committee meeting after that. So for today, I have no report.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Personnel Administration and Higher Education Committee met on September 1st, and from that meeting, we have resolutions 475 through 482. 475 is employment and training, creates a position student to careers development specialist. Countryside creates a temporary help position. The money is within their budget. 476 decreases the salary of the Director of Parks, Rec, and Railroad, and increases the salary of Administrative Secretary in the Probation Department. 477 is appointing members to the Warren County Ethics Board. There's 3 appointments and 1 alternate, and they're good. Those appointments will run through the end of 23. 478 is a pilot agreement with AC Power. It's a 15-year agreement. They're constructing a solar energy system in Queensbury. And after a lot of discussion at the personnel meeting, was referred to the Economic Development Committee for a to develop a policy for future pilots that come before the board. 479 is a corrected quit claim deed for Ticonderoga Arstein Property Inc. And it removes covenants that were prohibiting the sale of that property. And that was also referred to the Real Property Tax Committee for further discussion about the covenants that are in those deeds. 480 is about Countryside. It allows the retirees to be able to come back to work as a part-time or per diem basis at the rate of pay that they had when they retired versus coming back as entry, which they don't really want to do. 481 is a renewal of the health, dental, and vision insurance. There's no rate increase for the year 2023 for either the employees or the county. And it also offers the voluntary insurance policies of life, accident, critical illness. 482 is a renewal of the Medicare Advantage insurance with Humana at $216.33 per month. I believe it's about a 3% increase. And that was all for that meeting. On September 9th, the Personnel Committee met at SUNY Adirondack with Washington County, as the chairman mentioned. And out of that meeting, there are 4 resolutions. 483 through 486. 483 is a resolution to again authorize the purchase of the property at 12 Allen Road for $289,000. And half of that is paid by New York State. 484 is to ask support for the capital improvement plan at the college for 2023 through 24 in the amount of $9,851,000. 50% of that is paid also by New York State. The rest, the remaining, will be paid by chargebacks, federal aid, and donations. 485 is approving a collective bargaining agreement with the Faculty Association Union. This is a 5-year agreement from 2020 through 2025. And 486 is also approving the collective bargaining agreement with the educational support personnel. And that's a 4-year contract, 2021 through 2025. And that's it for personnel. Budget, the team has completed a meeting with the department heads. All their budgets requests have been submitted. They were submitted on the 9th of September. The next round of committee meetings, they will review their budgets with the committees. The teams also wants to review personnel requests. And we're still in the process of reviewing personnel requests. Also in the process of going through the budgets and looking for reductions. There will be reductions. Currently, the budget is up $2,750,000, or about 6%, or the levy is over this year's levy. We're $900,000 above the tax cap. Budget's due on October 20th. And that's that for that at this point.
Okay. And before I go to Supervisor Conover, I want to take this time to wish Supervisor Runyon back. She had a devastating fire. We all know that. And we're glad to have you back in the committee room.
Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Conover.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The board has 5 items from the Public Works Committee in front of you today, 470 through 474. I think you're all very straightforward. The agreement with the Thurman Connection Snowmobile Club's an annual agreement for utilization of the railroad right of way. And the rest are, I think, very straightforward. And that really concludes my report. Thank you.
Okay, Supervisor Leggett, Finance, CMS.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On finance before you today,
are resolutions 436 and 437. And then resolutions 487 through 493. All have come out of committee. And one is to 487, close a capital project. 488 is to authorize appropriation out of occupancy tax to planning department. 489 so is to establish a capital project, and this is for the septic system replacement fund that we got money for and for amending the budget. 490 comes out of public defender for submission of a next round of oils grants, Office of Indigent Legal Services. 491 is also out of finance, and that's for a lease agreement with their offices that they have downtown and at 333 Glen. Renewal of that. 492 out of public health is authorizing agreement for with Centrix to be able to collect funds. 493 comes from treasurer, authorizing agreement with Tyler Technologies to be able to have their systems work with Glens Falls National Bank. That's all I have to report.
Okay, Supervisor McDevitt.
Yes, let me just briefly paraphrase some information which was discussed yesterday at our LDC meeting. And it has to do with fraud activity with LDC bank accounts. On Friday, September 9th, while conducting routine review of the LDC online bank accounts, it was discovered that there was suspicious activity affecting both LDC accounts, loan and operating accounts. On 9/6/2022, by a means of a telephone transfer, $50,000 was moved from the LDC account to the LDC operating account. LDC and immediately met with bank personnel. Jim and I met. Basically, the accounts were closed and the funds were transferred to two new accounts. I think at the end of the day, what this points out is that fraud is occurring. We have people that are extremely computer literate, people that who maybe have a little too much time on their hands, and but I think the important thing is that it was recognized and identified very quickly, and basically working closely with Glens Falls National. The issue is been resolved, and no downside financially to our local LDC. But again, I think is a negative reflection of what's happening around our country, if not the globe, in terms of crazy, suspicious fraud activity with these type of accounts. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I do know that Glens Falls National is upgrading their online services this weekend.
Maybe this will be identified. I believe they're doing it this weekend,
Yeah,
Mr. Chairman. So it hopefully.
I don't know if that's coincidental.
I don't know. It's above my pay grade in terms of trying to understand how these things operate.
Supervisor, thank you. Supervisor Grant.
The ARPA committee members have been working on scoring all of the applications, and we have a committee meeting on September 27th at 3 p.m. So if you're interested in watching our deliberations on the applications, it should be very interesting. Feel free to be here. Thanks.
Supervisor Bruno.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The County Facilities Committee met on August 23rd. There are 4 resolutions in your packet, 438 to 441. 2 of those concern construction of a 3-bay T hanger by Skimmerhorn. Excuse me. And 438 is authorizing the chairman of the board to execute an agreement, updated federal aviation administration disadvantaged business enterprise program as required by the FAA. And 441 is concerns awarding a bid and authorizing agreement, the lowest responsible bidder for the Warren County former jail interior demolition. And I was unable to attend that meeting on the 23rd. And Vice Chair Supervisor McGowan chaired that meeting, so I'll defer to him for further discussion.
Thank you, Chairman Bruno yes, it's been a long time coming and it actually kind of took me by surprise of really the need that Dr. Sikorica has said that is needed in a regional was being talked quite freely. I was really taken back and I'm just really the need for all over and how far it could expand. So the doctor has reached out and said that he would help us really in a designing with Kevin Hajo's and group. So we're going to be, moving forward right now, getting it getting the demolition and getting it cleaned up is the first priority where we're going to be moving forward and meanwhile we'll be working on a design for the future of and coming up with some numbers of what it's going to cost and how this will all be put together. But it was sure interesting. It's kind of something that I was brought up years ago. I thought that I had and I'm just so happy it's actually getting closer to some form of fruition of maybe moving forward. So thank you.
Thank you. Anything else, Supervisor Brown?
No, I don't believe so. There was a discussion with Needham Associates, I believe, regarding security. Is that correct, Supervisor McGowan?
I think that will be ongoing.
Pardon?
Needham Associates made a presentation regarding security.
Oh, that's right. Well, thank you. Thanks for bringing that up. We had a little bit of confusion in the committee before of the entrance. And when we're talking about bringing the officers and, the entrance of the building and Needham kind of quoted at the front of the building, but in my personal opinion, it's not a practical place because we really don't use that. It's locked down. And to me, it's not as secure as coming into the main places that are coming up. So Needham did come and clarify of that. Yes, they used that in the report, but really the main entrance that we need to consider would be the DMV because that's where probably 95% of the people go is the county buildings in that. And there was other, things that were addressed that we are that are IT, in securing the building and things that we have to do in the future. So it was a great report from Needham and very helpful for the county and moving forward. So we've gotten that straight now, and now we're going to be looking at ideas of what we need to secure the DMV entrance, which we've kind of considered the main. So, but at least we established at the front of the building, the parking, the distance, the handicap, it's just not as feasible to reopen the front. So that's pretty much what we clarified. So that was good. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Supervisor Driscoll.
Thank you, Chairman. The Human Services Committee met on August 22nd. From that meeting came 3 resolutions, 461, 462, and 463. 461 deals with an arrangement for alternative temporary housing during the construction of Countryside for up to 6 residents of Countryside. 462 is recreation program reimbursements to each of the municipalities in Warren County. And 463 is in regard to a contractual relationship for a special delinquency prevention program for 4 entities from this region, from $2,300 a year to $5,000 a year. And at the appropriate time, I will be abstaining from that particular resolution.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Supervisor Frazier.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Health Services Committee met on August the 22nd. And from that, we have 3 resolutions, 458, 459, 460. 459 amends a memorandum of agreement where they are going to increase the per meal reimbursement rate from $4.50 to $5. 459 is again amending a resolution increasing the rates for the certified home health agency and long-term care healthcare programs. And 460 further amends a resolution which is amending an agreement with Zermid for the purpose of verifying insurance. So that way it expedite the claims because they've checked out the billing ahead of time. But again, there will be increases in rates and change renewal terms. And we will meet on September the 26th instead of next week due to NISAC. And thank you.
Supervisor Drossy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Criminal Justice and Public Safety Committee met on August 22nd. We moved 12 resolutions for consideration today. And there's 442 to 453. Reference to the sheriff's request for law enforcement services in 6 of our school districts, that's school resource officers. Those districts are Bolton, Hadley, Missouri, Johnsburg, Lake George, North Wing, and Queensbury. 7 resolutions are in regard to executing grants or applications for grants or authorizing agreements with various vendors. I ask for your support of these 12 resolutions. Our next meeting is Monday, September 26th at 9 a.m. Thank you.
Supervisor Dixon.
The Occupancy Tax Committee met on August 1st. In your packet are 2 resolutions that came out of that meeting. One is an agreement with the town of Johnsburg for a website maintenance initiative, and we extended the termination date of that. And the other one is 468, and it's an agreement with Cliff and Redfield to produce some articles highlighting the first wilderness corridor. We had 2 other resolutions that we considered that were eventually tabled, and they had to do with contracts that were for the tourism department. So they were tabled so that we could get some input from our new tourism director, Al Snow. Thank you.
Tourism.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tourism didn't have any meetings and we have no resolutions. We have our next meeting on the 26th. But I would like to introduce Al Snow for the supervisors that haven't met him this week. He's had a whirlwind trip around Wayne County. And I still getting his feet wet, but I think he's going to do a great job. And I don't know if he would like to make a couple of comments to the board, if that's permissible.
Please step up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Board of Supervisors. I just want to say I'm really pleased to be here. In the short time, it's like Supervisor Merlino said, it's been a bit of a whirlwind this week, just getting in and getting settled. I'm so excited to represent the county and start to get out and meet with each of you, meet with the businesses, all the different activities, and just really kind of soak in all the diversity that we have as far as a tourism destination, and start working with everybody on continuing the momentum of the economic engine that tourism brings to the area. So I thank you all very much. I look forward to working with each of you and ready to hit the ground running.
Thank you.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Supervisor Stroud.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. 3 resolutions before you today that come out of the Legislative Rules and Government Operations Committee. Resolution 466 is asking us to change the rules of the Board of Supervisors to eliminate the language imposing a second monthly meeting, as well as eliminate language requiring a 2/3 majority vote for the creation of new positions. Resolution 464 is to establish a $1,500 per district for caretaking the voting machines. Schedule and what your towns will be responsible for is attached. And lastly, resolution 465, which asks for your support and recognition in the establishment of a 250th American Revolution Committee. And I asked town historian John Barry and county historian Stan Soprano to be here. Stan couldn't make it, but John is make it. And with the permission of the chair, I'd like John Barry to speak to this.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. In May, Dr. Cianfrano and I attended a conference with the New York State historian, and also included was the Saratoga County historian, and discussed their plans for a 250th commission. And I said to Stan, well, that'd be a nice idea for us since we were part of it. So we have moved ahead with that endeavor. We have established through the town of Queensbury board a committee or commission. I am going to be the lead point in that commission. Your town historians are all on board. We've had numerous conferences with them. They wanted to wait to come to you until we had the county's support for the commission. We have already gotten numerous people involved. I've sent letters out to the state historian, who has responded and has added the commission to the New York State field guide of commissions. Most of them are lower parts of the state, towards Westchester, Ulster, Dutchess County. What else? We have sent out letters for education. I've basically concentrated, since I'm the Queensbury historian, on Queensbury. Your historians in your towns are going to reach out to the schools in their areas to try and get them to also participate in a secondary committee. The director of Veterans Affairs for the county is on board. I have the local chapter, J. McCrae chapter of the DAR is involved. And we're starting to form the committee now. I've really kind of waited until we could present something to you folks so that you could see what we're really trying to do. And we want to promote the tourism, all this type of stuff that this would bring into the county. I've also worked with Washington County informally. Their Fort Edward historian is kind of their ad hoc historian, if you will, for the county. And he is soliciting feelings from his town historians all through Washington County. So this will be a joint effort for us. We're going to work with Washington, Saratoga, us, and try and coordinate things to make this a really memorable event. Any questions on what the composition or scope would be, or? Okay, I thank you, and I hope your support will be there for this, and then I can start to really move forward with a little bit of teeth in my bite, so to speak. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chairman, I do have a question on this. Is this going to be an official committee? What is this being called for our purposes? Is it just an ad hoc community group?
Does somebody have the resolution? I think it's just offering support, correct?
For the creation of their own their own.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know the town of Warrensburg, we have passed resolution and support, and our historian is going to join in. And so I think that's what they're looking for, just.
Okay, thank you.
Did that answer question, or?
Supervisor Stroud,
Yeah,
anything else?
yeah, well, it's basically recognition of the effort going forward. There may be other things that this committee asked for, but to start off, they just want to know that you're aware of it, you support it, and going forward, we may be back. It's just recognition. All right, I want to thank historian Barry for being here with
Thank you.
and thank you, Chair, and that's it for me.
Okay. Supervisor Rouse not here. Does anybody have anything on economic development from the committee?
Yeah.
No? Okay. Any other supervisors who don't chair committees wish to make any reports? Supervisor Beatty, Supervisor Runyon.
No.
No,
Okay, thank you. Okay, report of county administrators.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since the last regular Board of Supervisors meeting, I have attended 15 department budget presentations, attended the ribbon cutting for the Lake George wastewater treatment plant, attended all committee meetings and supplemental Board of Supervisors meeting, attended meetings regarding union requests, attended joint meetings with Washington County regarding the SUNY Adirondack capital budget and union contracts, and attended meetings with the budget officer and team to go over the personnel requests for 2023. This time, I would also like to recognize an employee anniversary for Lisa Cato of mental health for 20 years of service to the county. Thank you.
Report of county attorney.
Thank you. Good morning. I did want to acknowledge and recognize that Christopher Briggs, Syracuse University Law School graduate, did start in my office this past Monday on September 12th. So thank you. Since our last committee meeting on, our last board meeting on August 19th, there have been no new notices of claims filed against the county. We have received service of 2 lawsuits. The first one is G. Travis Whitehead versus the County of Warren. It's an Article 78 action regarding a FOIL appeal letter that was dated April 21st of 2022, which denied and upheld a denial of request for records Mr. Whitehead requested previous to April 21st. The second lawsuit is a federal lawsuit in the Northern District of New York. It's Frank Dennis, DENES, versus the County of Warren, as well as Jim LaFar as sheriff and Courtney Howes as an employee. It's a civil rights lawsuit alleging civil rights violations, false arrest, malicious prosecution. We were just served with those papers on Wednesday. And there is insurance coverage that's in effect through NYMER for that case. On the Travis Whitehead lawsuit, the Warren County Attorney's Office is handling that action. Concerning the tax foreclosure proceeding, we did receive a signed judgment from Supreme Court Justice Robert Mueller. It was filed on September 8th of this month. I'm grateful that the Supreme Court was able to quickly review and approve that judgment. It's my understanding the properties have been posted. We've already executed the deed, the treasurer's deed, moving those properties into the title of the county. And there will be an auction the 3rd Saturday of October for those properties. Subject to any questions you may have, that's my report for this month. Thank you.
Any questions for the county attorney? Seeing none. Reading communications.
We have just one letter. The Board of Supervisors was copied on a letter from the Adirondack Regional Chamber of Commerce to Governor Hochul, asking that she veto the Farm Labor Board 40-hour overtime mandate. That was emailed out to the board this morning.
Discussion and public comment on proposed resolutions. Reading a resolution, sorry.
Resolution numbers 436 through 493 were distributed to the members of the Board of Supervisors on Tuesday, September 13th, and they were posted to the Warren County website on the same day, excuse me, which met the deadline specified in the rules of the board. There are also 5 proclamations that were distributed with those resolutions. Those include number 33, September 11th, Day of Service and Remembrance. Number 34, Suicide Prevention Month in Warren County. Number 35, Preparedness Month in Warren County. Number 36, Special Olympics Support and Awareness Day. And number 37, Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Warren County. There are also 3 floor resolutions in your folders, which were not approved by committee, so those all require a waiving of the rules. So the first one, which is in your packet labeled as floor resolution number 1, that's waiving the rules to bring it for resolution number 2. Waive the rules.
Motion to waive the rules by Supervisor Dickinson, second by Supervisor Bruno. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Okay. Floor resolution number 1 is now resolution 494. Motion is needed to bring floor resolution number 2 to the floor.
We have a motion. Motion by Supervisor Bruno, second by Supervisor Stroud. Discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Floor resolution number 2 is now resolution 495. Motion is needed to waive the rules to bring for floor resolution number 4. That's the resolution in your packet marked as floor resolution number 3.
Motion by Supervisor McGowan. Do we have a second? Second by Supervisor Frazier. Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Floor resolution number 3 is now 496. Motion to bring floor resolution number 4 to the floor.
We have a motion by Supervisor Runyon, second by Supervisor Driscoll. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Floor resolution number 4 is now resolution number 497. Motion to waive the rules for floor resolution number 6. That's marked as floor resolution number 5 in your packets.
We have a motion. Motion by Supervisor Strauss, second by Supervisor Thomas. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Floor resolution number 5 is now 498, and then a motion to bring floor resolution number 6 to the floor.
Motion on floor resolution number 6 by Supervisor McGowan. Do we have a second? Second by Supervisor Bruno. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay, floor resolution number 6 is now 499. Now we have
Discussion on any resolutions. Any public comment first on any resolution? Or discussion on resolutions. Supervisor Driscoll.
Thank you, Chairman. I would ask for a roll call vote on resolution 463, giving me the opportunity to abstain from the vote. Thank you.
Any other discussions on any resolution? Supervisor McGowan.
Yes, can we have a roll call on 466?
466, yeah. Okay, any other discussion? Supervisor Ray, you had your hand?
Yeah, I was gonna ask for a roll call on 466. One of the most important functions of this board is approving new positions, and the fiscal responsibility of this board and the county rests within that, and I believe it should be a 2/3, as it currently is, majority to approve a new position. Having a simple majority, I think, definitely creates a potentially dangerous situation concerning the fiscal responsibility of the board. So I'll be voting against that.
Thank you. Supervisor Seaver.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have a comment on 466, but just briefly, I wanted to, the 2 proclamations that are before us for voting on. Wanted to thank you and the clerk of the board for putting them in for Domestic Violence and Suicide Prevention Month, as we know both of those have increased dramatically over COVID, and I appreciate the recognition in our community. I also would like to ask for a roll call for 461. While I'm supportive of and have been supportive of costs at Countryside, I do think that the ARPA dollars are being used in a way to supplement some things that the county should be paying for. While I understand we can be doing that, it's my opinion we should not be using those dollars and using direct funds for those. But so 461 for a roll call, please.
Yes.
And 466, just briefly, I went back all the way to 2010 to take a look at how long have we been requiring a 2/3 for creation of a new position. And all I could find was back in 2010, we actually started, I think that was the year, we actually started asking for 2/3 to delete a position, which we've changed over the years. That came out of the nursing home. But one thing that remained very much a part of our rules was a 2/3 when we create a position. As we all know, these positions, when they're created, they aren't just salary. We see salaries change, we see benefit packages. And there's other costs associated with creating positions. So, if we can't get a 2/3 to create a position, perhaps we shouldn't be creating those positions. I'm also perplexed why we have this being combined with eliminating the second monthly meeting. Every single time we have met this year, we have had work to do. It's been incredibly helpful with the local laws that we've had to put forward. And I will remind the entire board in July and August how important those 2 meetings a month were. But I would be very happy to see this board say that second monthly meeting could be at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon to give time to our staff to prepare resolutions. But I do not appreciate going right from a personnel and budget meeting into a second board meeting without any time to notice the public or other supervisors. There have been some things that have been pushed right through with very small margins as a result of this type of meeting. So while I support having a second meeting, I would love to see it moved a couple days in the afternoon so that public could attend. But to have both of these together doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I would think these would be separate resolutions. Either way, I will be voting no on 466. Thank you.
Any other roll call votes or discussion? I'd like to request a roll call on 477. Any other discussion? Supervisor Bramer.
Thank you. On 466, it was my understanding that in the past, the reason for the 2/3 supermajority vote for the creation of positions was put in place when we were having a lot of financial difficulties. Right after the last recession in the 2008, 2009, 2010. And I'm being told repeatedly by our treasurer and by the budget officer that we are headed into another period of time where it's potentially a recession and very difficult financial times. So I don't know. I would like to hear from someone explain to me why we are going to get rid of the rule about the supermajority for creation of new positions when we still are facing the same financial situation that resulted in us as a board collectively 10, 12 years ago, putting this rule in place. I don't understand why we're doing that. And I do support the second monthly meeting. I think it's important. I think it's been valuable for us to have a second meeting, especially when we get our reports from the county attorney and they're very lengthy. It allows us that opportunity to kind of digest it and take the time to go through it. So I'm not going to vote for 466. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion on Supervisor Merlino?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On 466, I'm in favor either way, but I'd like to make a suggestion that being involved in tourism so much, and a lot of the board members are, is to maybe not have that second meeting in July and August. Because sometimes it makes it tough to get here or stay here during the day at that time. An afternoon meeting sometimes gets tougher. I don't know, but I'm just throwing it out to the floor.
Any other discussion on resolution? Nope. No roll call votes? Okay, then we'll move on with vote on resolution.
John, what do you think?
Okay, resolution 436, making supplemental appropriations. Ms. Seaver,
Yes.
Mr. Beatty,
Yes.
Mr. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Runyon. Yes. Mr. Conover.
Yeah.
Mr. Leggett,
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt.
Yes.
Ms. Bramer,
Yes.
Mr. Bruno,
Yes.
Mr. Driscoll,
Yes.
Mrs. Frazier,
Yes.
Mr. Drossy.
Yeah.
Mr. Dickinson. He's not here right now. Mr. Merlino,
Yes.
Mr. Stroud,
Yes.
Mr. McGowan,
Yes.
Chairman Garrity.
Yes.
Resolution passes with 788 votes in favor. Resolution 437, amending Warren County budget for 2022. Ms. Seaver,
Yes.
Mr. Beatty,
Yes.
Mr. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Runyon,
Yes.
Mr. Conover.
Yeah.
Mr. Leggett. Stepped away. Mr. McDevitt,
Yes.
Ms. Bramer,
Yes.
Mr. Bruno,
Yes.
Mr. Driscoll.
Yes.
Mrs. Frazier,
Yes.
Mr. Drossy.
Yes.
Yep. Mr. Dickinson, right now we're voting on the resolution to amend the Warren County budget.
Yes.
Mr. Merlino,
Yes.
Mr. Stroud,
Yes.
Mr. McGowan,
Yes.
Chairman Garrity.
Yes.
Resolution passes with 794 votes in favor. Resolution 461. Authorizing agreement with the landing at Queensberry for senior living. Excuse me, Ms. Seaver,
No.
Mr. Beatty,
Yes.
Mr. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Runyon. Yes. Mr. Conover.
Yeah.
Mr. Leggett,
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt,
Yes.
Ms. Bramer. Yes. Mr. Bruno,
Yes.
Mr. Driscoll.
Yes.
Mrs. Frazier,
yes,
Mr. Drossy,
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson,
Yes.
Mr. Merlino,
Yes.
Mr. Stroud,
yes,
Mr. McGowan,
Yes.
Chairman Garrity.
Yes.
Resolution passes with 752 votes in favor. Resolution 463, authorizing continuation of contractual relationships for special delinquency prevention programs. Ms. Seaver,
Yes.
Mr. Beatty,
Yes.
Mr. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Runyon. Yes. Mr. Conover.
Yeah.
Mr. Leggett,
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt,
Yes.
Ms. Bramer,
Yes.
Mr. Bruno,
Yes.
Mr. Driscoll,
Abstain.
Ms. Frazier,
yes,
Mr. Drossy,
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson,
Yes.
Mr. Merlino,
Yes.
Mr. Stroud,
yes,
Mr. McGowan,
Yes.
Chairman Garrity.
Yes.
Resolution passes with 799 votes in favor. Resolution 466, further altering the standing rules of the Board of Supervisors as adopted by Resolution 32 of 2022. Ms. Seaver,
No.
Mr. Beatty,
No.
Mr. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Runyon. Yes. Mr. Conover,
Yes.
Mr. Leggett,
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt.
Yes.
Ms. Bramer. No. Mr. Bruno,
No.
Mr. Driscoll,
Yes.
Mrs. Frazier,
yes,
Mr. Drossy,
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson,
Yes.
Mr. Merlino,
Yes.
Mr. Stroud,
yes,
Mr. McGowan,
No.
Chairman Garrity.
Yes.
The resolution fails. There are only 489 votes in favor. Resolution 475, amending tables of organization in Warren County Salary and Compensation Plan to create positions for Employment and Training Administration. Ms. Seaver,
Yes.
Mr. Beatty,
Yes.
Mr. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Runyon,
yes,
Mr. Conover.
Yeah.
Mr. Leggett,
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt.
Yes.
Ms. Bramer. Yes. Mr. Bruno,
Yes.
Mr. Driscoll.
Yes.
Mrs. Frazier,
yes,
Mr. Drossy,
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson.
Yes.
Mr. Merlino,
Yes.
Mr. Stroud,
yes,
Mr. McGowan,
Yes.
Chairman Garrity.
Yes.
Resolution passes with 841 votes in favor. Resolution 476, amending tables of organization in Warren County Salary and Compensation Plan to adjust salaries for positions in DPW and probation. Ms. Seaver,
Yes.
Mr. Beatty,
Yes.
Mr. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Runyon,
yes,
Mr. Conover.
Yeah.
Mr. Leggett.
Yeah.
Mr. McDevitt.
Yes.
Ms. Bramer. Yes. Mr. Bruno,
Yes.
Mr. Driscoll.
Yes.
Mrs. Frazier,
yes,
Mr. Drossy.
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson,
Yes.
Mr. Merlino.
Yes.
Mr. Stroud,
yes,
Mr. McGowan,
Yes.
Chairman Garrity.
Yes.
Resolution passes with 841 votes in favor. Resolution 477, appointing members to the Warren County Board of Ethics. Ms. Seaver.
Yes.
Mr. Beatty,
Yes.
Mr. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Runyon,
yes,
Mr. Conover.
Yeah.
Mr. Leggett.
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt,
No.
Ms. Bramer,
I recuse.
Mr. Bruno,
Yes.
Mr. Driscoll.
Yes.
Mrs. Frazier,
yes,
Mr. Drossy.
Yeah.
Mr. Dickinson,
Yes.
Mr. Merlino,
No.
Mr. Stroud,
no,
Mr. McGowan,
Yes.
Chairman Garrity.
Though I believe in ethics, I do not believe in the makeup of this committee, so I will vote no.
The resolution passes with 529 votes in favor. Resolution 488, authorizing appropriation of funds from the occupancy tax reserve. Ms. Seaver,
Yes.
Mr. Beatty,
Yes.
Mr. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Runyon. Yes. Mr. Conover.
Yeah.
Mr. Leggett.
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt.
Yes.
Ms. Bramer,
Yes.
Mr. Bruno,
Yes.
Mr. Driscoll.
Yes.
Mrs. Frazier,
yes,
Mr. Drossy,
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson.
Yeah.
Mr. Merlino,
Yes.
Mr. Stroud,
yes,
Mr. McGowan,
Yes.
Chairman Garrity.
Yes.
Resolution passes with 841 votes in favor. Resolution 489, establishing capital project H 418 septic system replacement. Ms. Seaver,
Yes.
Mr. Beatty,
Yes.
Mr. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Runyon,
yes,
Mr. Conover.
Yeah.
Mr. Leggett.
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt.
Yes.
Ms. Bramer,
Yes.
Mr. Bruno,
Yes.
Mr. Driscoll.
Yes.
Mrs. Frazier,
yes,
Mr. Drossy,
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson,
Yes.
Mr. Merlino,
Yes.
Mr. Stroud,
Yes.
Mr. McGowan,
Yes.
Chairman Garrity.
Yes.
Resolution passes with 841 votes in favor. And need a collective on the rest.
All those in favor of approving the rest of the resolution, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, privilege of floor and public comment. Anybody wish to address the board on any subject? Please step up to the podium.
Good morning, everybody. I just as a comment on Supervisor McDevitt's statements this morning about the check being or the accounts being compromised. Rest assured, we are doing everything in the treasurer's office to make sure that that does not happen with us. We are working with our bank and actually paying for part of the service out of the interest that we make on some of our accounts to make sure that that doesn't happen. That doesn't guarantee it, but we are doing everything possible to make sure that all of our major accounts are protected. Some of the smaller accounts and some of the departments that do not go right directly through my office are kind of unprotected. We're monitoring those as much as we possibly can. But the major accounts, we have as much protection as we can find to make sure that we don't have that problem. Secondly, about the regional morgue, and I think this is an excellent idea. I think even if it's a break-even situation for Warren County, it's an excellent idea. However, I would just like to say, and I know I've discussed this with Mr. Leggett in the past, that if we're going to invite other counties to be a part of this, before we get too far down the road, I think we need to have those other counties on board with some sort of, even if it's a handshake agreement, that they're going to be involved and to what extent before too much money is spent to try to get this done. That's it. If anybody's got a question for me.
I just have a quick one. Mike, is there any insurance that the county has to protect us against fraud as far as these accounts?
Yes, there is.
Okay, do we currently have it?
Yes. It basically I wouldn't say it's an insurance policy, but because of the steps we're using through the bank, if something happens, the bank will basically make us whole on a situation because we are part of their program.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Supervisor?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This was actually towards Mr. Elman. Because of the recent arrest for fraud in Lake Luzerne of a former town council member of $124,000. I know Warren County, but I'd like to know what complicity or what involvement we are in that, and did we have any funds lost? Obviously, we've supported the snowmobile club. That was what the individual was arrested for.
I
I
guess
don't know if there's a comment to be made, but I think I would defer to the treasurer on that.
Okay. All right.
As soon as the news broke about this, my staff went back and reviewed the contracts. And the way it's set up, the county has, we didn't lose any of our money. Okay. It was money that was by this board given to that organization, and therefore they are the ones that are out the money. We are not liable for any of this. There's no, there's nothing in any of the contracts that requires us or even gives us the opportunity to audit these books and audit that situation. So at this point, I mean, I can't speak legally, but on a financial point, we're still okay. We're on solid ground.
Okay, I did have a conversation with the auditor, the internal auditor, that we may have to tighten up some of the funds that we pass through or give out to the snowmobile clubs in the future. So I had a brief conversation with you.
Yeah, and it's so early in the process, but yes, I am with my staff, we're working on some ideas for the future contracts of these type of things to make sure that there's a little bit more protection.
Yeah.
Supervisor Bramer.
Did you have something on this?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, because I have something different. I definitely agree with the idea that we should tighten up our belts on the funds that we give to the snowmobile clubs, but I have a couple of other points I'll defer. That's okay.
Did you have something on this?
On this topic, yes, and it was a question for our county attorney. Last year, we were approached by Lake Luzerne board members in the snowmobile club to ask that this contract be identical to the other snowmobile contracts. That was the only one that was given to the town, and then the town gave to the snowmobile club. So early on, when you came on board, it was one of the contracts that we had changed, and this board had voted on that. So it was my understanding that from that time forward, the expenses were going through the auditor's office, as the chairman indicated, and being reviewed through that process in the way that we do all the other snowmobile clubs. I just want to confirm that that process had not changed since we made those changes. It's been the same, correct?
I will go back and look at the last iteration of contracts for it, and then I can contact the supervisor from Queensberry directly to confirm that. I can't today confirm that, and I'm not making any comment on the case because it's a case that's being handled by the district attorney's office. And until the prosecution was made public, it wasn't known by me or my office that the district attorney's office had an investigation into the snowmobile club. So as we move forward, there'll be an opportunity as more information becomes available publicly through the criminal prosecution to look and see what, if any, steps can be taken to try to tighten up some of those aspects, especially with the snowmobile clubs.
Thank you. I think my question though specifically is just when you do review that, how much money Warren County is contributing towards these clubs versus the pass-through. I've always objected to pass-through grants, but I do know that there's an additional contribution from the county.
And I will definitely look at that and
Thank you.
follow up with you directly.
Thank you.
Superintendent Agos.
I could just provide a little insight on this. The state grant is just that pass-through grant. We, as of 2006, the county reviews the material submitted by the clubs. And then at that point, we certify that they submitted their receipts. And then we send it off to the treasurer's office, who in turn will cut a check, and then they will get reimbursed by the state. If those records are falsified, we don't know. If it says it's a receipt for snow groomer, that's what we go by. As far as the ones in-house that used to go through all the towns, we certify all that in-house. And again, we ask them for the receipts for anything that they purchase. And then internally, our auditor also checks it as well as a backup to us to make sure that they're submitting the proper receipts and such. So.
Okay, Supervisor Bramer.
Thank you very much. I do have two things. One I want to highlight is the septic money that we received from the state today. That's a really important amount of money that we've received to help our homeowners, especially given the fact that the Lake George Park Commission did just put out their proposed regulations for the septic inspection program that will become mandatory. And I believe there is a public hearing on that in November. So I did want to highlight that money. We got $340,000 last year. And if you recall, at the beginning of this year, as chair of the septic inspection committee, which hasn't met all year, I did send a letter to the DEC commissioner asking for an additional amount of money. And that was supported by some environmental organizations. And I specifically want to thank Dave Miller from the Adirondack Council for also lobbying and advocating to the state that Lake George needed more money. So this year, thanks to the governor and Commissioner Sagos, we have received $595,000. And if you talk to the planning department, Ethan Gaddy has been receiving applications since last year for this money that will be able to use that money without even asking for additional applications. So at this time, please try to tell your constituents from Queensberry and Lake George in particular that they may need to just be patient because the money is going to be used up again already. So we're going to have to advocate for the state to send us some more money unless we're willing to allocate our own money towards that. So that was one important thing I wanted to mention. And if you'll bear with me, the second one is something that's coming up that I'm very excited about as athlete. The World University Games are happening in 2023, and they are being hosted primarily out of Lake Placid. But Gore is one of the primary venues, and I'd really like to hear us talking more about this. I think that we need to get this out there on our website. We need to have more social media about it, marketing, and maybe even hire someone to be a liaison in North Creek, because already people are asking, like, where do we stay? Where can we eat? And you know, North Creek is a small place, and I don't think Johnsburg has the budget to just have all these people there without someone helping them. So I'd really like to see that. And I'd also like to see us become an official partner of the games. That's an opportunity available to us, and I'm glad that our new director is on board. I hope that you'll have some great ideas to bring to bear on this, and we need to do it ASAP. It's September. This thing is here in just over 100 days, 100 days.
Wow.
Thank you, Chairman.
Supervisor Driscoll.
Thank you, Chairman. I didn't want to leave today without commenting on the issue with the snowmobile club. I'm not a snowmobiler, but I think it's unfair to point a finger just at snowmobile clubs. This type of activity goes on with fire companies, EMS squads, a number of different types of not-for-profits, even faith-based organizations. You read about it in the paper every year. So I just don't want us to leave here just thinking that it's snowmobile clubs that have bad apples in it. Even in private business, it happens. Let's make sure that justice is done. But again, there's a lot of good snowmobile clubs, individuals who certainly help our economy and have a good time throughout Warren County. I just don't want to paint a bad picture of those individuals. Thank you.
Supervisor Bruno.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Regarding the creation of the regional morgue, I completely agree with Treasurer Swan's comments. Number one, if this comes to fruition, it would be a benefit to Warren County and the region as a whole, even if it's just break even. Additionally, I agree that we need to get the other counties or other players, if you will, involved. Superintendent Hajos and I have discussed this briefly prior to this, and that's very important, but we need to have good definition of what it is that we're proposing to present to the other potential players or partners in this endeavor. And we'll discuss this additionally or further at our next County Facilities Committee meeting on the 27th of this month. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other privileges for announcements? I'm sure somebody, I'm sorry.
I want to jump in here real quick. So as all of you know, next Thursday starts Adirondack Balloon Fest. I did send out a notice to all supervisors for assistance. I have gotten at least 4 replies. But we can always use their help, especially when it comes to donations. So Claudia, yes, I got yours this morning.
Thanks.
So it looks like the weather is going to be a little bit cool, but nice. So feel free to come out and have back pains and leg pains at the end of the day, but enjoy the time out at the Balloon Fest. Thank you.
Supervisor Driscoll.
Thank you, Chairman. The Glens Falls Senior Center is sponsoring a fair, an expo, a senior expo this Wednesday at Heritage Hall at the Cool and Cheering Arena from 1 to 7 p.m. I understand that a number of area senior centers, organizations that work with seniors are going to be tabling. Catholic Charities will be tabling, and I encourage people to share that information with their seniors as well as caretakers and those types of folks. So thank you.
Okay, and then I'll make an announcement about the world's largest garage sale that comes back on September 30th and October 1st and 2nd in Warrensburg, and we hope that y'all will make it up there to spend some money. We always appreciate what other sales tax and oxy tax money we can get. So nothing else to bring up? Motion adjourned by Supervisor